How's it going, everybody? I know it's not Sunday, but you think I was really gonna skip a Q&A video on you? There's no way. These are like some of my favorite videos to record. We're hanging out twitch.tv/Lawler, where we stream every day but Tuesday and Sunday. Obviously, Spring Major's got some things all over the place and it's pretty wild. So we have to delay these a little bit because I know you guys need your recap videos and everything else. But we've got a Q&A video today. It's going to be obviously questions from both you guys on the YouTube as well as people in chat. We're going to alternate, answer the best that provide as many answers. We'll go for about 10 to 15 minutes and then wrap it up. If you guys want your questions answered as well in the future, two ways you can do it. Either come by the stream every day but Tuesday and Sunday, like I said, twitch.tv/Lawler. Feel free to ask them in the Discord as well. A lot of people have been joining the Discord. Discord.gg/Lawler. All these links are in the description down below. And you can always ask them on the video. Have a question that you want asked, let me know in the comments down below. And if you see one you like, give it a thumbs up because those then bump to the top and it makes it easier for us to answer. So that said, let's transition to the other screen and see what crazy things y'all been asking. Some of these more topical than others. So first one from Christian. Do you think that Psyonix will implement a reason to have both home and away esports decals? It would be cool if we saw esports stadiums indicating the home and away team. So I do think the evolution of home and away decals and like the esports side of things can definitely be developed a bit more. I don't know if they're ever going to do custom stadiums. I hope if they do custom stadiums, it's actually for the venue that they play. Like imagine when you load into the match, it shows the Copper Box Arena in game. Stuff like that would be super cool. I think they should do stuff like that. But as for home and away arenas and like color changes, I don't think they'll ever do that. The blue and orange sides are kind of iconic and visually not restricting. Like I remember when you load into like crew matches and all of a sudden it's like bright heckin' pink and green and you can't see anything. So they're probably going to avoid that. The conversation I think is going to be more surrounding the forcing of decals. I think right now, because organizations are selling that, like organizations are going and being like, hey, random sponsor, we can put your logo on our car in game and sell that, which there's expectations that a new esports decal update is going to be in October. I've seen some of the leaks. They look sick. A lot of freedom given to organizations. So because of being able to sell that ad space and being able to say, hey, there may be a requirement that players have to use that decal. And if not, they've got to find a workaround with Baka's mod so it shows and displays to the public, but not to the player, which also teases a video that I'm releasing in the near future about that whole concept. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. I've been working like 6 months on this video. I'm excited for it to finally come out to the public. It's the biggest project I've ever worked on, ever. It's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, I think the evolution of esports decals for a home and away and stuff like that is going to become prevalent, more so for the sponsorships and for the organizations than anything else. Next up, Mr. Marbles. First of all, love your content. Thank you, sir. What do you think about a map change like they do in Smash? Hear my explanation out. Let's say we have 3 different sizes. Normal, 85%, width, but same height, overall 120% map. We start on the normal map, and every game, the losing team gets to choose map to switch to for the next game based on the performances of them and their opponents. Coach better map, rule analyzing mutations. We can step further, change the overall dimensions of the map, like a square one, bigger one. So, Marbles, a lot of us have discussed this in the past. The biggest thing is if they are, and if you guys didn't see my conversation with Striped, recommend checking that about how like potentially the core of Rocket League could become very stale. But if we are to change anything, I think it shouldn't be mechanics. I think it should be map adjustments. And they can't be drastic, like you're talking. Change the dimensions a little bit, make it a little bit bigger, make it a little bit wider, a little bit taller, a little bit shorter, all those kind of things. And play test the heck out of them. You have to take those type of concepts and make very micro adjustments because those will affect the reads, how the ball's trajectory goes, the stuff that we've learned as muscle memory for 10,000 hours as pros. That kind of stuff is going to make a huge difference. So I do like the concept of like map pick ban phase and adding some depth to the conversation outside of the gameplay. But those types of things are important. Wasteland/Badlands was never a good map because the ground was curved. So the ball always funneled towards the net. That was terrible. It was actually miserable. But there is a map, and I've done a video on this, where they take the map and make it 50% bigger. And like, you have so much time to trap a ball, dribble, decide what you want to do, pass it, and all that kind of stuff. But then you've got to determine where are boost pads located. Is it too much? Like, there's a lot of balancing that goes into it. So that kind of stuff is very important. Yeah, Hermes talks about trying to flip. You can't even like forward dodge and flip uphill because you get caught. It doesn't work. So There's a lot of things like that that need to be experimented with, but if they are to do anything, I do think experimenting with the map isn't a bad idea. Hopefully, and knock on wood, Unreal Engine 5 gives us some creative mode freedom and we can start testing this stuff on our own. Landmarker says, I want to see competitive playlists of best of threes, just like tournaments, finals, and semis, and casual games. Any ideas? Yes, if you guys didn't see my conversation about Club Q and having like clubhouses, in Club Q, I think that once you get into a certain rank, because you are dedicating a threes queue, they could also do best of threes. I think once you hit like Grand Champ or SSL territory, they could have a series that you play instead of just an individual game. I think things like that in a dedicated queue would be really cool. 100%. Marcus, so what would be your Mount Rushmore of Rocket League in esports pros or in general creators pros and everyone in the game? So this conversation has obviously been documented a lot, and I think the conversation in particular has been presented in a bad way. They say Mount Rushmore of Rocket League, but then also talk about who are the greatest of all time. To me, those are two separate conversations, and I have a big problem with it. It comes down to defining a very strict set of guidelines and stipulations of what they mean by the argument. To me, Mount Rushmore is figures of importance, people that helped push forward the situation. And I think we should scrap all the conversation and start talking about Hall of Fame instead. I may be doing a detailed, highly edited video on the Mount Rushmore of Rocket League in the future, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. But spur of the moment, trying to give you answers on that is very difficult. I have to talk about people like Cloudfuel, Gibbs, Uhtred. Uhtred, most people don't know, he literally bought PCs for pros so they could start streaming and building up their platforms like Kronovi and Pashy and others. Like, there's some pretty unrecognized people in this space from the OG days that without them, we would not have an esports scene. People like Gibbs get a lot of credit because originally Psyonix didn't even want to have a ranked queue in the game. Things like that these figures, because they were OG SARP vets and had the ability to talk to developers very early on from forums, being able to change the space of the scene. Imagine Rocket League with no ranked queue. Like, what would we be doing right now? Imagine that. That's why Gibbs is the GOAT. That's why we love Gibbs. Stuff like that's super important. Do you have any vacation plans once Worlds is over? Gosh, definitely deserve it. Can't be said how much you do for the community. Hey, appreciate the kind words, man. Band Geek, thanks for the love. I legitimately don't think I've taken a vacation since I started working in esports. I've taken some time for myself here and there, like gone up north for the weekend and everything, but I don't know the last time I took like an extended vacation. As the YouTube channel does better and better, it's becoming more of an option where I can record a bunch of videos ahead of time and then peace out. I've been streaming live on Twitch a lot less. I used to stream like 80 hours a week. Now I stream like 70 to 80 a month, just because having to sit here dedicated for X amount of hours, it's very time consuming. So there's some things that I'm working on right now that may provide a bit more freedom to do stuff like that. I think in September, I'm supposed to go somewhere tropical with some friends for like a week. So trying to do stuff like that. I want to take more trips up in the woods and go like skiing and snowboarding and stuff and do like the whole log cabin with a hot tub kind of stuff, but nothing concrete, but I should definitely consider it. I should definitely look at some stuff. So thank you for the kind words and the generosity, man. I appreciate it. What do you think about switching from game 5-7 game series and just making the game longer, like 30 minutes? Then you could have timeouts, line changes, etc. So Rocket League's kind of a unique game. They've actually tried this. They've tried 10-minute games and 10-minute matches instead of 5. And the difficulty is if you have never played at that level, or you don't know the like perspective of what goes into professional play, that's 5 minutes of your brain at max capacity, just all in the whole time. It's exhausting. It takes so much out of you to play a long series, which I think is kind of cool because it provides the human element like traditional sports, right? Traditional sports, there's physical fatigue. You get exhausted. You're tired. You know, you're out of breath. But in Rocket League, it's all mental. It's all mental fatigue. And I'd be interested to see if like, hey, you guys play a 10-15 minute match and then you can take breaks mid match. The issue is, how do you take a timeout mid series or mid game? Like, possession change, it completely, like, it just, to any way I look at it, just wouldn't work, and there would never be like a clear or clean way of doing it. So I personally, from what I've seen and from the playtesting of it, it does not work. The 5 minutes is kind of the bread and butter. It's a good place, but yeah, I don't think it would ever work. It would be interesting to see. It's one of those, we could do it, but should we? I think it would actually, it would diminish the quality of what Rocket League esports is right now. Personal opinion. I think it's a cool concept and it would be totally different. Maybe someone should start a Discord server and a league where you play longer matches, because you can change that stuff. but I don't know how well received it would be over the long term. It'd be interesting. Someone should do that. Someone start a Discord and make the matches 10 minutes instead of 5. That's what I would check out. That's what I'd check out. Should there be titles for top 100? Yes. Give incentive for the top. That's the easiest answer I'm going to give you. Yes. There should definitely be incentive. The thing I talked about yesterday and like a little bit last week, I play Path of Exile a lot, and the cool thing is in Path of Exile, they're top runners, the people who dominate the most, the people who crush it out and do really, really well. They actually get to design items in game. How cool would it be if the number 1, number 2, and number, like, say in the 1v1, 2v2, and 3v3 ladder, you get to design an item. If you're the top team or the top player in an extra game mode, you get to design an item or something. That'd be so cool. Like, that'd be a reward and an incentive to grind ranked. I think stuff like that'd be super sick. Can you see someone like JKnaps retiring if G2 win Worlds, as he has sort of completed all of that and winning countless regionals, the winter major, and then possibly Worlds? So if G2 wins Worlds, JKnaps gets a world championship under his belt, do you see him retiring? Honestly, I say no. Most pros, I think, when they hit their peak are like, I'm still in it. I'm still good. I'm still a quality player. I can keep going. Because it is a player to player thing, right? Like, I think that decision usually comes down to how do I feel individually? And that's going to be more of a JKnaps thing. Like, he's been doing it for a long time. So maybe he is like, yeah, I finally accomplished the thing. Like, this is what's keeping me going. I did it. I'm good. But I feel like as a competitor, most people after they win one are like, shit, I want to have a chance to defend that title. I want to run it back. Our team's playing so well right now. Why would I throw that away? The only time you really see that is like NFL quarterbacks that have been playing for like 15, 17 years. And then they're like, all right, we won a world championship. I'm going to end out on top because I've been doing this for so long. So I don't know, maybe that's the mentality, but no, I think if they win something, I think JKnaps would give it another run. And then if it's like, oh man, we're not as good as we once were, then it's like, do I really want to grind and practice all day? And like, then I think it's a different conversation. But as of right now, I don't think so. All right, and the last question is going to be focused on NRG. There's a lot of people wondering about NRG, my thoughts on NRG, how do I feel about them? So the question originates from Flip saying, hey, them missing this major, good or bad? I don't know. That's my most simplistic answer. I honestly don't know. I don't have access to the behind the scenes. I don't know what their coach and everybody else is communicating. I don't know where their mental headspace is in. There's so many unknown factors. But if I'm trying to put like a positive spin on it, say they're like, hey, Lawler, here's the keys to NRG. Tell us what you're focused on, what you're doing. The way I would approach it would be like, hey guys, like clearly play style wise, we're not at the place where we need to be. We're trying to implement this new stuff. We've got some work to do. And while we can't go and play against and be exposed to these other teams, I think it's really important that we focus on us. We need to make sure that we are good. You know, we're dropping games that we shouldn't be. So I think if you're trying to put a positive spin on things, this allows NRG to self-reflect. It gives them essentially 2 months to focus in and figure out what it is they need to do to be successful. While I do think it would be great for them to compete at the major and be able to try out their play styles and the things that they're working on against other top teams, they're also going to get that exposure to the teams that went and competed, bringing that knowledge back and then scrimming. So I think indirectly, it's really good for NRG that they're able to kind of have this time to themselves, maybe get a mental refresh, make sure the mental's in a good place, take a little bit of a break, and then hit the ground running for the next 6 weeks, right? Like, you've got roughly until August 4th, you're going to have scrims and boot camp probably a week before that. So essentially the last week of July, this wraps up on the 3rd of July. So you're talking essentially 20 to 25 days to like figure stuff out and go in hard to that last boot camp and into the world championship. And you don't know what part of the tournament you're going to play in. Are you wild card or you main event? Who knows? I think NRG at this point has a good chance to kind of self-reflect, figure out what it is they want to accomplish, put some goals in place, and approach it with a good mindset. So NRG is a team that's very talented. I don't think they're ever out of the running. I think NRG has showcased that at any given point, they have potential to win it all. I just look at that team and I go, yeah, there's always a chance that they'll be competitive. And we saw that. I think it was, Regional 2 that they made a pretty decent run. Regional 3, they lost in 5 to Complexity. So they went out 9-12. And the regional before that, they placed top 4 before they lost to V1 in 7. So they were almost top 3, right? There's potential with NRG, and that's even with them looking bad. People are like, yeah, NRG looks like poop. Well, the contrast is NRG wins everything. So yeah, in comparison, obviously they look like poop because you're used to them just being best all the time. So it is an interesting conversation. I've talked and articulated this quite a few times. For a year and a half, they were like best team in Europe or best team in NA, like without a doubt. They were always competitive. They're always towards the top, right? This is the first time that they're handling that adversity, self-reflecting, trying to make adjustments. And I talked to Garrett and Justin in the lobby in LA, and he's like, yeah, we've learned so much in these last 2 weeks. So it happens. It happens. So I think NRG's fine. I think they've got some downtime. I've got some things for them to, they've got some things to work on, and that's what they're going to be focused on. And hopefully they do what NRG does best. They get to be the underdogs. They don't have all this pressure on them anymore, and they shock the world. You never know. But I personally will never count on NRG. They've been so good there the entire time I've been following Rocket League. So, which is since the beginning. So that is going to do it, chat. I do appreciate y'all answering and asking questions and providing your insight, whether it is goofy or not. Some of you just really want to see Musty play, apparently, which nothing wrong with that. So seriously, we do these, try to do these every single week, as long as there is nothing going on that prevents us from like doing them, because we got to do recaps and stuff. So that is going to do it for today's video. I seriously appreciate every single one of you. It's going to be like a 2-week gap between this Q&A comes out, because this weekend we've got prediction stuff, and then the other one we had the recap video that we had to do. So that is going to do it for this one. I appreciate y'all being here. Thanks for tuning in, watching, everybody coming back. But that is going to do it. Again, if you guys enjoyed the content, like, subscribe, notifications helps me out greatly. Feel free to leave any questions down below. Check out links to everything, social media, as well as Discord, all that kind of stuff where these conversations happen. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.